All right, buckle up because this is going to be a tale of sweat, grease, and triumph. I'm talking about the restoration of my beloved Suzuki Hayabusa, a bike that once had the power to make heads turn and the engine roar like a lion. Now it was more of a rust-covered pile of metal than a motorcycle, but we had potential, both of us. Why the Hayabusa, you ask? Well, you know how some people have that dream car they've been lusting over for years? My dream was a Hayabusa, specifically a 2004 model, the king of speed and engineering. But as luck would have it, I found mine at a local junkyard, hidden beneath what looked like the aftermath of an apocalyptic thunderstorm. It wasn't just rusty, it looked like it had lived through a tornado and then been left out in the rain for a decade. I could hear the whispers of the mechanic's voice in my head. This thing's a goner, buy a new one. But deep down I knew I couldn't walk away. This Hayabusa had potential, and I wasn't going to leave without it. Besides, how could I resist a bike with more character than a Hollywood movie villain? It had soul, okay? It was the motorcycle version of a fixer-upper house. So, armed with a vague sense of confidence, a toolbox, and way too much optimism, I got to work. Restoration process. Step 1. Cleaning. Now, I can't even begin to describe the state of this bike. The wheels were covered in what looked like a mixture of rust, mud, and some unidentifiable sticky substance. The frame was tarnished, the seat looked like it had been chewed on by 1,000 raccoons. But there was something oddly satisfying about getting in there with a wire brush and scrubber, slowly revealing the clean metal beneath. It was like peeling an onion, layer by layer. Except instead of tears, I had a mix of relief and, why did I do this to myself? The first victory was when I managed to remove the rust from the exhaust pipe. It gleamed under the sun like it had been to a spa and received a full treatment. It was a small win, but to me, it felt like I just scored the winning goal in the World Cup. Next came the parts. You don't know true despair until you're sitting at a counter, holding a credit card, and realizing you've just spent more on motorcycle parts than your entire semester's worth of textbooks. But hey, this was for a legend in the making, right? Every new bolt, gasket, and screw I put in felt like a mini milestone. Every piece of plastic I carefully reassembled felt like a victory against the odds. But the real fun began when it was time to paint. I went for a classic black and silver finish, because who doesn't love a sleek, stealthy look? Watching that paint dry felt like watching an artist work their masterpiece. It was a moment. When I saw the final result, I swear I almost shed a tear. Breakthrough moment. Then came the moment of truth. The engine. I cranked it. Nothing. I cranked it again. Still nothing. I stood there staring at it, wondering if I had made a terrible mistake. Maybe I was delusional. Maybe the bike was beyond salvation. Maybe I should have listened to that mechanic. But then, just as I was about to throw in the towel and possibly set the Hayabusa on fire, I twisted the throttle one more time. Vroom. That glorious metallic growl. It roared back to life like a lion waking from a nap. I kid you not, the feeling of hearing that engine purr was like the universe gave me a high five. I swear I could hear the bike whispering, "I've been waiting for you." Final ride and reflection. So the moment I'd been waiting for arrived. The first ride. I threw on my helmet, fired up the engine, and took it out for a spin. The wind hitting my face was like nothing I'd ever felt. It was freedom. It was power. It was pure, unadulterated joy. The bike hummed, the gears clicked, and I swear I could hear the bike shouting, "Look at me now!" That ride wasn't just a test drive. It was the culmination of months of frustration, sweat, and some choice words in the garage. As I cruised down the street, I realized that this wasn't just about restoring a motorcycle. It was about perseverance, about taking something broken and giving it new life. It was about not giving up on something, or yourself, just because the road gets a little bumpy. Closing. As I parked the Hayabusa in my driveway, the sun setting behind it like some cheesy action movie montage, I realized something. Restoring the bike wasn't just about bringing a machine back to life. It was about reminding myself that with a little elbow grease, patience, and a lot of coffee, anything can be fixed. So if you're ever looking at something, whether it's a bike, a car, or even a relationship, that looks like it's past its prime, remember, sometimes all it takes is a little time, a little effort, and a little humor to turn things around. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got a Hayabusa to ride.